Growing up in a tiny village that being gay wasn't even imaginable, I never thought I'd be able to say this out loud and talk about it and admit to myself that I'm gay. So today I want to talk about coming out, how I was affected by poverty, how I tried to make relationship with my parents better and failed many times, and what worked. And I hopefully will give you some reassurance. If you're going through hard time right now, I do hope that you'll find this video useful. So subscribe to my channel and please continue watching this video. So if you are new to my channel, I was growing in a very isolated village. It's a very harsh climate, last accessible point really in the country, and country hates gays, absolutely hates gays. And my parents didn't like gays at all because my dad is ex-military, he's a police officer. They have never been abroad, I've never been abroad. And also if you think about it, if you grow up in a small village, then we didn't have any access to public transport, we didn't have a car, so we haven't even been to big cities, not to mention they've never been abroad, my parents never traveled anywhere. You don't see any gay people, you don't know much about them, it's just that state propaganda and TV makes you hate them and you always constantly think something is wrong if you have some slight suspicion about yourself. So I started to have suspicions about myself since I was like 8 or 10 years old, but I always brushed them. I tried not to think about it at all because I didn't want to accept myself. And then also if you're growing up in poverty, you do understand that people, your parents, your sister, everyone is looking forward to you, that you're going to be this person who's going to drag their family out of poverty, right? I did believe propaganda a lot and I did find many false studies about gay people and I haven't checked the information. And there was no internet back then, so you had to believe what you saw on TV. I haven't read any books about gay people, LGBTQ plus people. I didn't even know it was an issue. I was just knew that I'm attracted to boys, and that thought scared me. And I was thinking this is all temporary, something is wrong now, and that would change later. Also, my parents, whenever something happened, they made stupid jokes about gay people, or they told me stories about how people go to prison for some crimes. And then the worst thing that can possibly happen to them is that they can become a gay person and then the whole life ends. I knew how my dad particularly hated gay people and I didn't want to disappoint them. We had rules not to talk about that a lot, and whenever they spoke about that, they probably could see that I was probably more camp, if I can say so. They didn't like that and they probably could see early signs of that. And I remember how I was sitting with my neighbor and then she said something like, oh, this is not manly behavior or so. It's still stuck in my memory because back then I was thinking about it and I was thinking, oh, something is definitely wrong with me. And then I went to school and in school people told me I walked different way. I didn't walk the way I was supposed to walk. I didn't swear at all. I didn't have any swear words in my vocabulary, and they also thought something must be wrong with me. And obviously they made jokes that I was gay, and back then I didn't know I was gay. So I was constantly having this feeling, this sense of wrongness, you know, that something's wrong with you and you don't even know if it's true or not. You don't understand. It's like building up and you constantly think about it and you see that your parents think, oh my God, this guy is gonna drag us out of poverty, he's like handsome, he's beautiful, he's gonna find a girlfriend, have an amazing life. I had this belief for myself as well. I didn't want to disappoint my parents because they've been working really hard. When I was 13, 14, I was more certain to believe I was attracted to boys. And then the internet happened. I got access to the internet. It was really shitty internet. You have to wait 10 minutes to upload the web page. But I quickly discovered forums and I started to learn English on my own. And since then, everything, like some people mock my accent, but I haven't tried to learn English since then. I learned English for 2 or 3 years, completely on my own, from the internet. Then I first got access to it and I understood like only 20%, then 50%, then 100% of what I was listening and reading. And I got access to the internet. I was quickly Googling, what if you're attracted to men? And I quickly discovered forums and I understood other people like these exist. But I didn't see any role model. I didn't see any other gay people in my town, in my village. Back then on state TV, everyone blamed gays for absolutely everything. Like, the whole country was against gays. I think my dad also had more suspicious. He was asking me why I don't have a girlfriend. He was like, I had several girlfriends by your age. And even my teacher, two of my teachers at school, they asked me why I don't have a girlfriend, and I'm supposedly beautiful and I should have a girlfriend, and I didn't. First of all, that was like violation of privacy and like mind your business. They talked to my dad about me not having a girlfriend. I was weirdly attracted to the classmate I shared the desk with. He was kind of giving me mixed signals as well. So I didn't know what to do, and then I was thinking, God, I must imagining all of this. Nothing like that ever happens. Spoiler alert, this guy later married a girl, but then they divorced. Common friend told me that he's kind of confused about his sexuality, and he's 30 now. And he was married for 5 or 6 years as well. So maybe I wasn't the only gay in the village. But what I'm saying is, I had my incident. I was once almost very close to confiding him, and he started to fight me. This is how it ended. So I decided, oh no, I'm never gonna come out to anyone. And back then, to be fair, I couldn't come out to myself. I didn't think about it. I didn't know what to think. I thought I was different. I kept try and convince myself that I was straight. And my parents also, they were really strict about everything. They were religious, they kept asking me questions, they were asking me to look for certain quality in a woman. I just thought, if I'm not so sure, I didn't want to disappoint any girl. I don't want to do this intention of dating a girl to see if I like her or not. If I knew deep down I was gay, but I was afraid to admit it to myself because I didn't want to disappoint my parents. And I was constantly bombarded with tons of questions. And you know what? This pressure is building up. That's why I started to be really isolated. I didn't have any friends. In high school, I was like constantly reading my books. I was constantly learning English. My mom wasn't a big fan of me learning English. She also thought I was learning German, by the way. And I did like a flashcard to learn English words. And then she took them, all of my flashcards, and she burned them. Told me not to learn this like hostile language, you know what I mean? And my dad was really cautious about what I was Googling on the internet, because back then, yeah, the internet still was censored. It was very limited. We had to pay for every megabyte of internet I used. I only looked for forums, and more information I researched. I was kind of discovering that gay people exist. I wanted to move away from my country a lot. I was looking at New Zealand, Canada, the US, but I thought it wasn't possible because we are poor. I made kind of a decision to work as hard as I can so I can get out of poverty and lift myself out of that. But then I always thought about parents. I didn't want to disappoint my parents and my sister. So the first money I made, I bought my parents tons of things so I could win their attention and love and prove that I'm worth of being respected and loved. And that was mistake number one, because when you do that, then people take things for granted. They think they deserve it. And then my parents ask me for more and more things, and they also put the high expectations. And my mom, I was working 5 jobs at the same time to make money and to lift myself out of poverty in the city. And also I was studying full time. So I was studying full time, then was doing 5 jobs. I was really tired. I didn't sleep at all. I only slept for 2 or 3 hours. I've lived for like 2 or 3 years like this, working five jobs. My parents were constantly pressuring me, and then I decided I should come out. I was emotionally exhausted. I didn't want them to find out different way, that somebody would tell them. I wanted to test waters as well. So I found a movie, I think it's on YouTube still, Prayers for Bobby, and I watched it with my mom. And then she didn't understand anything. And then she's like, oh yeah, it's a sob story, but like it's so bad to be gay. I talked to my dad. I made up a story that one of my clients from work, his dad, find out his son is gay. And then I don't even remember what I made up. He basically said that he would wish this boy pass away. I wasn't worried about myself. I was worried that he might do something to him. So I wasn't worried about myself at all. And that was mistake number 2, and massive mistake, to think about what other people would say, what other people would think, because you are living your life. Life is very short. You need to enjoy your life. You live your life to yourself. If you are dependent on your parents, That's one thing. But back then I was making my own money and I wasn't dependent on my parents. So then I made another mistake. I came out to my friend and my friend told me, oh, it's reversible, and then you just haven't met the woman yet. And then she's like, I have a friend, and then you can try dating the friend. I also started to work for the American company, American startup, and the girl at my work, she recorded one of our senior executives who was like saying basically gay people, evil on earth and something like that. So I said, God, even at work, I can't be myself. I can't be myself with friends. I can't be myself with anyone really. I can't be in this country. So then I decided to cut communication with certain people that did not accept me, including this friend. I stopped worrying about what would happen to my parents. That's why I came out to them. They were crying for weeks, especially my sister. My dad brushed it off, really. He's like, I don't want to talk about it. Never, please talk to me about it ever again. Am I happy with the outcome? Of course not. Everyone wants to be accepted and loved by their parents no matter what, because nothing changed really. I do understand where he comes from. He's never been abroad. He has a completely different mindset. He's very brainwashed by propaganda. So it's fine. If he doesn't want to talk about it, that's okay. We used to talk every week or so. Now we talk once in half a year. And I feel better because there is no artificial communication. And also, I was really worried because my parents are very senior and I didn't want them to pass away and then they didn't know. Some of my friends, they make up stories about themselves. They're like, oh, I'm doing PhD and then I live abroad. And in fact, they don't. They just married a guy and they don't want their parents to call in an inconvenient time and then they have a partner. That's why they make these like stupid lies and stories. And I didn't want to be this person. I didn't want to hide myself. And because if you hide yourself, if you're not open to yourself, if you can't admit to yourself you're gay, you will not be happy, you will not be content, you will constantly thinking something's wrong with me. And I went through this. Forums that I found online helped me a lot because I could see, even if I don't have opportunity now to travel abroad, to live in the United States, where everything is like acceptable in a good state, then I could at least find a forum where people describe how they live a really happy life. And I was working really hard to put myself out of poverty, out of misery. I wish I would accept myself younger, 10 years ago or so, because I only fully accepted myself as a gay person 5 or 6 years ago. And it took me, 15 years to accept myself. That's why I think it's such a accomplishment to say to yourself that you're gay and nothing is wrong with you. My first therapist, she was really brutal and she just basically asked me, do you understand this is how it works? This is completely normal. The same thing are the environment and then nothing's wrong with you. And like, Alex, you can't wait even more because you're basically life is passing by you. So how much more time do you want to waste on this? I was 100% certain my parents would do something to themselves when they find out. They cried for a week and then, because they have their own problems and it wasn't the end of the world and they live in different countries, I made my peace with it and they know I'm okay and I'm alright. Deep down, I think they are fine with that now, even though I thought the worst of the worst would be possible. I'm living better life and I'm happy now and I deserve this because I've been working so hard and trying to pull myself out of that. I want to finish this video with some thoughts that if you are struggling now to accept yourself or to be gay in a very hostile environment that doesn't accept gay people, things will change. I was crying myself to sleep. I only had my cat to talk to and confide in. I was learning English as hard and quickly as I could and I was studying. I really wanted to leave myself out of there, but I still wasn't sure it would work. I thought maybe I would go to a bigger city and then I'll just like disappear, and in a bigger city people don't care. I haven't even imagined I'd live abroad in a country that genuinely accepts LGBTQ plus people, and I'm happy that it ended well for me in this way. And I also think that if you have this goal, if you are persistent, if you Don't let small things like that knock you down, because even now things like that happen. Even my coworkers sometimes, they say nasty, bad things about gay people, even though they know I'm more open about my sexuality. They just can't get to me, really, and nothing should get to you, because you live your life for yourself. So I hope this video was useful. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video. Thank you very much.